Wonderful. We have about 7-8 more people scheduled. If you don't mind waiting for a couple of minutes, I'm going to go ahead and send you over a free ebook. Let's see if I can get the right, wrong one. Get the right page up here so I can grab that ebook for you, and you can go ahead and get that downloaded. There we go. Now I can get it. All right. From beginning. Okay. I might get this all figured out before it's over with. After all, if you want to click on that link, you should be able to download a free ebook that hopefully it will help you. It's about the principles of persuasion, and I can go ahead and show you what that looks like while we're waiting for some of these people to show up. It's called The Power of Persuasion by Robert Levine, and it's a really, really good book. It's about 250 pages, and it's got a lot of information about what we're doing today. So I'm hoping that'll help y'all out. Are there any questions that either of you would like to ask me before we get started? I'm going to go ahead and start this PowerPoint. Where did it go? There we go. If y'all can see that, okay, I have my other monitor as backup so I can see pretty much what you're seeing, so you can still see me. So I'm going to cover me. Actually, I'm going to take my picture off so you can pay attention to the PowerPoint, and that way I can also watch you if I can remember how to do this. I'm supposed to be able to stop just the photo. There we go. And you get my pretty little picture. Anyway, and this way you can concentrate on the presentation, and I can keep an eye on who else might be coming in and the chat box. If I take this a little bit smaller. Now, can y'all see that okay? Now, you should be able to use the little button. Let me show you. Little button at the top of your screen up here for you on your view. You should be able to enlarge it and make it full screen if you need to. I'm not sure what your resolution is on your computer. And let's go ahead and go through here. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I want to be able to give you some of this information. And I had put in the chat window a file, and let me send it again just in case. I'm not sure if you'll be able to scroll through what's already been done after you come in late. So there you go. Mr. Otter, Dick Otter, if you'll grab that file, it's a free ebook, and I was just showing Domo. It's The Power of Persuasion by Robert Levine. It's a really great book. It's got a lot of information that you can apply not only to internet marketing, but to a lot of other things in your life. And so let's go ahead and get through this. Let's see what you're going to learn tonight. I've got some new vocabulary because it's very important that you understand the vocabulary in the marketing and, you know, whatever new thing that you take on. If you don't understand what people are talking about, it's not going to help you much. Then we're going to go ahead and talk about the 6 principles of persuasion. I'm going to give you some examples how you can use these in your marketing efforts, okay? And we lost Dick. I don't know if it's a technical issue or he just left, so it might be just you and I, Domo. Is it Domo? Well, you can't tell me, can you? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Log-O, Domo? Okay. First, obviously, is the consumer or the customer, and most of us understand that's a person or a business involved in purchasing and the exchange of goods and services provided by the producers of those goods and services. It's pretty self-explanatory. We all pretty much know that's us. Ethics, and this is a question, definition that a lot of people have trouble with. But to me, and you pretty much have to develop sort of your own idea of what ethics are, but essentially ethics are a commitment to act honestly and with the best intentions in whatever relationship you enter into with your customers, and it's a dedication to deliver the best product or service at the best price. So that's what ethics are to me. It's just basically being honest, doing the right thing, okay? Marketers. Marketers are the real people who make the choices that affect the lives of themselves and their companies and their consumers. If you are doing any type of buying and selling to other people online, whether it's people or businesses, you are a marketer. Marketing is a set of processes that we use to create communication to deliver value to people or businesses who are most likely to want or need your products and can pay for them. is also developing relationships with those people to promote repeat sales, repeat visits. Welcome back, Dick. I thought I saw that I lost you. I hope you don't have too many technical issues. This is just the second or third slide, so you didn't miss too much. We're going through the vocabulary. Persuasion, which is what this is about tonight, is to change the attitude or behavior, or to cause someone to take an action to comply with a request that you're making, and using the understanding of human psychology in order to facilitate that change. So a change of behavior could be clicking on a button instead of not clicking on it, that sort of thing. I mean, it can be as simple as that, or it can be very complicated. And we're going to go into this more. Perceived value, and this is something I'm asked about a lot. Perceived value is the customer's opinion of what a product is worth to him or her. It has nothing to do with the market value or the price of the product. It depends solely on the ability of the product or service to satisfy the requirements of the purchaser or the customer. So when you're offering an ebook, for example, and you put a value of $47 on that ebook, if the customer looks through that ebook and does not feel like it's worth $47 to them for their particular circumstance, then the perceived value of that book is going to drop. Whereas if you sell an ebook and the customer gets it and they don't have a high expectation, and then when they get into the book and they really say, hey man, there's a lot of stuff in here, then their perceived value of that book goes up, so they feel like they got more than they paid, more than what they paid for it. Okay, follow me so far, everybody. There is a little feedback button on the right hand side. If you have a question, you can do a little drop down. I have a question, slow down, speed up, yes, no, whatever. That'll help you with some of the typing as well. Okay, all right, where we go? Come back here. Okay. Relationship. A relationship is not boyfriend, girlfriend, okay? It is a mutually beneficial exchange of goods and services for the benefit of the consumer and the producer. If you are producing something, or if you're selling something, if you don't have someone to sell it to, then you're not going to make any money. And the people that are looking for information or services or whatever it happens to be that you're selling, if it's something they need and you're not producing it, then they can't satisfy that need. So that relationship is built over time through honest dealings and customer service and all those things. Building that relationship will ensure that you have a long-term returning customer. Okay. Satisfaction, we pretty much, as consumers, we understand what consumer satisfaction is. The consumer's feeling of pleasure or happiness that results from comparing the product's perceived value, what they think the product is worth, or the outcome of the the service or the software in relation to his or her expectations that was created by your advertising and marketing. So when I'll give you a real good example. When you see these sales pitches that tell you you're going to, if you buy my software and just 1, 2, 3 clicks and you're going to be making money tomorrow, and you get that you pay $47.95 and you get that software and you open it up and it's not 3 clicks, it's 477 clicks, and you're not making money tomorrow. 6 months later you're still struggling with it, you're not making money. That software is not going to be worth diddly squat to you. The perceived value is going to be very low. However, if you get a piece of software that says, if you take the software and you use it for 3 months, you'll start making money, and you get in there and you start using it, you find out it's very easy to use, and it actually does the things that they said it was going to do and more, and that you actually start making money in a couple of weeks, your opinion of that software is going to be that it's worth a lot more than the $47 you paid for it, because of what it does for you. So that comes again into the perceived value, comes again into the satisfaction. And then of course selling is the conversion of potential customers into buying customers. And these are pretty standard definitions, but sometimes, especially with the new people coming into marketing, it's something that they struggle with a little bit. That's the only reason I put that in there for y'all. Okay, the power of persuasion. The power of persuasion is influencing people to purchase your product or service. It is not a matter of luck, and it's not accomplished by some magic push-button product. There are scientifically proven methods that you could use to become a more successful marketer. Now, in the real world, as salespeople and marketing people, we have the benefit of being able to meet with our clients and being able to use body language, signals through body language to understand where the customer is as we go through our sales pitch. We don't necessarily have that on the internet unless maybe you're doing a two-way video, which is what I try to do, and it's not working with this program. I'll find another one. I'll keep going until I find one that works. But anyway, that's what the persuasion is about. There's 6 elements to persuasion, 6 principles. We have, and I'm going to go through these in some detail, but we have reciprocity, which is the give and take of it all. For example, if it's holiday time, if you happen to celebrate Christmas or some other holiday where gifts are exchanged, and you run into a friend and they have a gift for you, you sort of feel like, I should have a gift for them too, and you sort of feel bad if you don't. That's the sort of kind of feeling that you're going for with reciprocity. If you do a favor for someone, it sort of initiates a feeling that they maybe ought to do a favor back. Okay? Scarcity. You see this all the time. We have only 3 left. Call again if the line is busy. In this webinar, I have a certain limited number of seating. I'm only allowed to have a certain number of people in here because of the limitations of the software. That is scarcity based on technology. There's a lot of different kinds of scarcity. The thing about scarcity that you want to remember is if you say that a product is scarce, be sure it is scarce. Don't let people catch you in a lie about it. And I catch salespeople all the time where they say, if you don't get this in 48 hours, it'll be gone, and 2 weeks later I'll click on the link and it's still there. So that's one thing you need to really watch out for. Authority, and there's a website called Imagination, and they have some really good information for internet marketers and people doing marketing, but they are one of the largest firms the last 3 years, and they're run by Dr. Whalen. That sort of gives you an idea that this person has some credibility. They have authority because they have been recognized by the industry. Okay, commitment, and when you're building a website with a partner and you say, hey, we already agreed, black links on black with no underlines, you stick to it. And that's sort of a lame example, but we pretty much know what commitment is about. Once you say you're going to do something, do it. Social proof. After looking at this book, most people bought, if you've ever been on Amazon, you see underneath where you might be looking at a book or considering buying a book, and a lot of times you scroll down to the bottom to see what other books like that in that particular venue or that particular genre other people are reading. It helps you sometimes make a decision on that book. So social proof, we like to follow the crowd. And then likability is something that might be connect with the person, physically or emotionally. On the internet, usually it's emotionally. The picture looks like me and my friends. Hey, I like this photo tool because it appeals to the emotional side. And I will tell you, 85% of all buying decisions are based on emotion, even when people think they're doing it logically. The next thing you want to remember is trust. I mean, right now, one of the things I harp on is the hype that's going on the internet right now. People have gotten to the point where they don't know who to trust anymore. And if you really want to succeed in this business, I really feel strongly, and this, is as much my personal opinion as being borne out by the things I'm seeing online lately. And I can talk to you more about some of those things too, but people are not trusting people. And if you're going to be able to build a relationship, the people, your customers, need to trust that you're going to do what you say. So there's several kinds of trust. You have presumed trust, and that's trust based on maybe something you've heard about the person or something you've read about the person. You're going to initially give them that, it's sort of like, I'll trust you until you screw me over kind of thing, excuse my French. But, hi Vivian, it's the kind of trust that you give to someone initially until they blow it. Hi Vivian, that's okay. No, that's okay Vivian, you're fine, come on in. I'll catch up with you later if you need to. Surface trust is when you go to a website and it just looks like it's just an awesome website and it appeals to you and it's got great eye candy, or it's very clean design depending on what your personal taste is, and it just seems so professional to you, a lot of times that can help build trust. This person knows what they're doing. Reputed trust is the type of trust where, I just mentioned the other thing about the doctor, somebody is ranked by an organization. Webmasters have certain organizations that come in and look at their sites and their links and see if everything, or at least they used to, see if everything works well, and they can get ranked or they can get awarded, awards, or you may see things like certified by such and such an organization. That is trust based on documented reputation, okay? And then you have earned trust, which is when someone purchases from you or receives something from you and they say, hey, that really worked the way they said it was, the way they said it did. So you have different levels of trust, and you will move through each one of these as you deal with your customers. The behavior model, and again, I'm going to be going through all of these in a little bit more detail. I want to give you a basic outline to begin with. Your motivators. You have a pleasure or pain. These are emotional. Hope and fear, acceptance and rejection. You have barriers. Now, motivators are the things that get people to do what you want. Click on that button. Barriers to what you want someone to do on the internet might be time, it might be money, maybe they have to have some type of physical effort involved, maybe they have to go to 5 different pages before they download something. The cycles of the brain, we all have, some of us are morning people, some of us are afternoon people. If you hit a morning person at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, they're probably not going to be as receptive to your message as they might be at 8 o'clock in the morning. Social deviance. If everybody's doing something, people are more likely to chime in and do it if they perceive, excuse me, sorry, I'm having an allergy attack. Social deviance is where people don't want to step out from the crowd. They want to be liked. They want to be popular. They want to do what everybody else is doing. So this comes into play especially when you're doing something new, like what I'm trying to do with this business school. It's very new compared to what's already out there. I'm trying to develop a new way of doing things. So it's difficult to get people to be open and receptive to that because they don't see 5,000 people in here. And I appreciate so much that all of you coming in and working with me, and I think this is going to be something that's going to help you in the long run. That's the idea. A non-routine. People, again, are creatures of habit, and they want to do things in a certain way. I get up every morning at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The first thing I do is make my coffee, and then take my shower, brush my teeth, and I sit down and I check my email. And I've been doing that for years and years and years. And I get very antsy. For example, this morning I had somewhere I had to go, and I wasn't able to check my email till I got home. And so it's like all I could think about all morning was checking my email. So, we all fall into habit. So if someone is required to start a new routine, it's very difficult sometimes to help them get into the flow of that new routine. Triggers are call to action, and facilitation is just to make something easier. Just click this button. That's all you have to do. Just click this button and you get it. Okay. A signal is something that makes an item more appealing. If you click this button, you're going to get this free book that tells you how to do such and such. So just click the button below. It's a signal. It tells people that here's something that's going to work for you, and you try to get it. You're trying to get them to buy or accept or opt in or whatever. So the signal makes this, whatever the offer is, a little bit more appealing. And then a spark is just a signal. It's not necessarily a motivator. It's okay. Now I've given you all this information, so you're going to get this wonderful product. Click here. That's your spark. That's your signal. Click here. And from there you go on to the next course of action. Everybody following me so far? Any questions so far? It looks like everybody's okay. I'm going to send you over the ebook. If you can't scroll up and get the ebook out of the chat, Vivian, I'll send it to you a little bit later at the end of the webinar, okay? And I'm sorry I can't figure out how to make this sound work like it's supposed to. I'm going to have to play with it some more. But hopefully you're hearing me okay. And we don't need that one anymore. Hopefully, cancel. Hopefully you're hearing me okay and good. Better than the other night, Vivian? I guess she's not. Vivian types so too. I've worked with Vivian for a week. Yes, but there's background noise. Where is background? Oh, I know what it is. I have my other computer on. Let me see if I can hide the headphone because it's coming through, I bet you. That should be the only background noise is my other computer coming through. But it's through a headphone, but it's nearby. Hopefully that'll be better. Okay, I wanted to go back up. Where was I? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. Is that better, Vivian? I know what it is. My husband's watching TV next to me. Is it too loud? Yes, it's too loud. Can you turn it down a little bit more, honey? I'm sorry, but you know. Oh yeah, he's got it up to 50. I need it down like 25 or something, please. All right. Okay, I'm louder than the background. Well, that's good. I usually am. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about reciprocity. And I always have trouble saying that. I always have to stop and slow down and think about it. But basically, it's the good old give and take. It's like I was saying before, during holiday time or, you know, any time that you have an occasion where you receive a gift. All right, Vivian, quit being so cute. Anyway, the good old give and take is like when you receive a gift for someone, you feel like, you know, you want to give them a gift back, especially like during holiday time when gift giving is expected. Or when someone does a favor for you, you feel sort of obligated to maybe do a favor for them. One of the things you can do in your networking is when you do favors for people and they say, oh man, thanks for doing that, you know, I really appreciate your help. Say, hey, no problem, you know, I'm sure you do the same for me sometime if I needed help. That sort of plants that little seed in their mind to remind them that, yeah, I did you a favor and I would like something in return maybe in the future. And it doesn't have to be anything big. You're not asking for money or anything. It's just, you know, a subtle way to remind people that what you do when you give your expertise, you're giving it as a favor to help them. So hopefully in the future there will be a way that they can repay that. Concessions is starting with something big, then trying something small. You see this all the time in marketing when you come across a page and they want to sell you something for $197 and then you say, well, you know, I can't afford that, so I'm not going to do it. You go to click off and then a little window pops up, say, wait, I got a special offer. They've asked you for a certain amount of money. They started big. And when you say no, then they say, well, wait a minute, if you can't do that, how about this? So they give you something small. That's how the concession idea applies to the marketing. Another example I use is my sister used to call me, or my girlfriend used to call me all the time, can you take me to the store? Well, every time I took her to the store, it was a 4-hour trip because just they had no car and they were low income and they would do all their shopping in one day. And I got to where I had to tell her, say, look, Sharon, I can't spend 4 hours at the store with you. I said, but I can run you up to the convenience store to get a couple of things and then maybe take you tomorrow, the next day to the grocery store, and then the next day to Walmart, you know, and split it up. So they would ask me for something big and I would come back and offer something smaller or offer to break it down. So, you know, you can think about those examples when you're putting together your sales information. And yes, I did get your Vivian. Vivian, I got your question about copy that sounds natural, and I'm going to go into that more in another video or another webinar, but I'm going to try to hit on some of that for you to give you a little bit of what you're looking for tonight, okay? And let's see, Thomas not here. I didn't see any questions from the other of you attendees, so if you have a question, put it in the box and I'll try to answer it for you, at least somewhat of an answer. If it takes a lot of detail, I'll have to do another video for you or something, but anyway. All right, what I have up here is an example of reciprocity and how it applies to internet marketing. I don't know if you've ever used Wufoo. Wufoo is a place where you can create forms for your website or mail lists or newsletters, things like that. And one of the ways that Wufoo uses Reciprocity is they have sign up for free. So if you give, why is this not working? Okay, well, if you sign up for free, I had an arrow and all that fun stuff. It's not working for some reason, but if you sign up to their website for free, in other words, if you give me your email address, I will give you, if you see down here, 3 free forms, or whatever it is, 3 free whatevers. So they're saying, if you do this for me, give me your email address, I will do this for you. I will give you 3 free. We do this all the time in marketing. When we normally call it an incentive, when you're asking somebody to opt in or maybe recommend your site to a friend. In exchange for that, I'll give you something else. I'll give you an ebook, or I'll give you a software or something, okay? Oh, they're my little oh, no, don't do that. No, 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 stop, stop, stop. Oh, I just love PowerPoint. Come back here. All right. Let's get back to where we were. I know, Vivian, I was having issues today. I'll talk to you about it later. All right, Reciprocity. There we go, Wufoo. There we go. Sign up for free. And if you do that, then they'll give you 3 free forms. I have to look really close to see what it says, but if you give them their email, if you sign up to their service, they'll start you out with 3 forms so you can try it out. Okay, that's an example of Reciprocity. Scarcity, basically, we know what scarcity it means. Scarcity is something that is only available for a short time or in limited quantity. I don't know your ages, but you might remember Cabbage Patch Dolls or Nintendo or Wii when they first came out. People were camping out at the store because they knew that there would only be so many available and they wanted to get it. We value information and things that are scarce much more than things that are in abundance, okay? So if there's 500 Nintendos on the shelf and 3 Wiis, people are usually going to buy the Wii as far as game goes, So same thing with books. If you have stacks and stacks of a very popular book and it's, a bestseller and there's stacks and stacks of them, a lot of people will walk right by that stack because it just seems like they're not selling because there's so many of them or something. And they'll go further on down in the racks in the bookstore and they'll look for books that's only 1 or 2 copies on the shelf, and they think, there's not that many of those. They're maybe selling a lot of them, so I'm going to get my copy now, okay? Harry Potter is a real good example of the movie. People were lining up to get tickets because only so many could get in for the first showing. So that would be an example, and you do that all the time in your marketing efforts. Exclusivity is also a type of scarcity. If you have a specialized product, and I just grabbed some here, a Cuisinart ice cream maker, it's a special kind of ice cream maker, or the Coca-Cola cooler, just some different things that I found online. If you have a specialized product, if you're selling products, and it could be an ebook, it could be an information product that's specialized, very niche specific. For example, maybe you are in the health niche and you work with you have done an ebook about dealing with psoriasis. That's not something that you find a lot of, and maybe you have grandma's home remedy that really works well. So you have a very specific little niche that makes it exclusive. It's not something they're going to find somewhere else. Another thing you can do is you can do something like an email and you make it popular by, like in this case it says be an insider. It makes it exclusive. You can only get in here if you sign up for this. And so not everybody that comes through the websites can just automatically click on a link and get our newsletter. You have to sign up for it. It makes you an insider. It makes you exclusive. It's the VIP. It's when you get to go. I'm a business member at our local Sam's, which is like a Costco. I don't know where you're located, Texas, Virginia. You probably have something like a Sam's, but if you have a business card, you're a business owner, you can go in an hour or 2 earlier before all the regular people go in and get your shopping done. So that makes you feel good. I got a VIP. I get to go in early. So, that's a way that they market to people and make you feel like you're special, you're exclusive, you have the special card. It didn't cost any more. It's just I listed my business and I get the tax break and, so forth. Anyway, so you following me okay already? Yeah, Vivian, I saw the message on there that you got the things almost done. We'll talk about it some more after this. Okay, authority. Your papers, please. When you are presenting yourself as an authority, and you see this again in marketing all the time, where people show screenshots of their ClickBank account to prove that they're making all this money, and we know now that a lot of those screenshots are faked. If you're going to present yourself as an expert, the first thing you need to know is you need to know what you're talking about. Because when people start talking to you or interacting with you or reading your material, they're going to know very quickly. Thank you, Vivian. If you don't know what you're talking about, they're going to find that out very quickly. You're not going to be able to fake it for long. Another thing you can do is point out right at the front, point out your weakness. For example, I have this school site that I'm promoting, and one of the reasons I'm doing the webinars, of course, is for the IMBIZSCHOOL.com. Now, I have a lot of things that I'm really good at. I'm very good at article marketing. I'm a writer. I'm good at that. I'm good at creating websites. I've been doing it for 20 years. I can do WordPress. I can do a lot of I've been in marketing for years, sales and marketing. I understand that. I can share that information with you. I do email marketing, but I don't do a lot of it, so I don't consider myself an expert in email marketing. Now, I have a couple of classes in there, and I'm building more, but I went and got me an expert that's all they do is email marketing. I do a lot of SEO, and I understand how to do search engine optimization, SEO. But I don't feel that I'm an expert in it enough to, I can teach you some basics, but when you get to a certain level, I don't have that expertise. I need to bring somebody in. So by pointing out up front, I can give you all this, but I'm going to have to do something else to give you this. That shows a level of trustworthiness. People tend to say, hey, look, she's not giving me a bunch of BS. She's telling me like it is. And that also helps to build your trust. It helps you as a customer to understand what my level of knowledge is, so you know what you can look for, what you can expect from me. So that's another way that you can demonstrate your knowledge, your trustworthiness, your credentials. You also, if you have, I had a girlfriend one time that put on Facebook that she had a degree from a couple of universities and she never went to college, and I told her, I said, if you're going to tell people you have a degree, I hope you have one, because I've known you 42 years and I never knew that you went to college, so she went back and said, you're right, there's no sense in doing that. So people will find out it's too easy these days to check. So if you have a degree and you want to say, hey, I've got a degree, put it up there, that's great. So you get the point there. Make sure you can back up with your claims. It's basically what it amounts to. Another way to get authority is if, for example, you do something and you get a write-up in a newspaper. Because the newspapers recognize what you're doing, that gives you a level of authority and integrity, right? It's like it validates you. So if you can put out a press release and get it released in a well-known or recognized either old-fashioned newspaper or an online newspaper or a magazine, or maybe you have an ad go out, you purchase an ad for somebody's newsletter that is very respected newsletter that's been around for a while. For example, Chris Farrell has a weekly newsletter. Now, he does not do advertising, but if he did and he accepted your ad and put your ad in his newsletter, then that would show a level of authority saying, hey, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, okay? These things seem like very basics, but we tend to forget about them sometimes, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this. Now, we run into the authority issue as far as publications things when you're brand new online and you're introducing a new product. So one of the things you can do to show yourself as an authority, like I said, is be able to document what you've claimed. I have not done an online school before. I'm a teacher, and I've taught regular classrooms, traditional brick-and-mortar classrooms, and I've had internet classrooms that I've done in conjunction with that, but as far as starting an internet marketing school, I haven't done that before. So it's important that I share with you what my qualifications are to be able to do that, and I can do that through documenting my university degree, my experience with Clear Channel Radio, some other things that I've done that are available for you to look at. So if you are not online long enough to have reached a point where you are being featured in the press, we're not all Mike Phil same, so we have to start somewhere. So that's one of the things you can do, is document what you claim, and don't be too shy about letting people know what your qualifications are, because that's what shows that you're an expert. Beat my butt. I couldn't find one that said my butt, so y'all. Anyway, commitment. People tend to do what they've always done, and I wanted to use a Roadrunner Coyote as an example because he was constantly doing the same old. Every week he did the same old kind of thing. He might use a different bomb from Acme or a different sledgehammer from Acme, but it was all the same thing. And he never really caught the Roadrunner. Baby, go lie down. My dog's driving me crazy, guys. So one of the things you're trying to do when you're building your sales copy, your messages, you're trying to get people to commit to doing something. One way to do that is to ask questions. Maybe you have a poll or have a little one yes/no voting box on your buttons. Get them to click on something. And if they click on something once and they go on down the page, they be more likely to click on something else, like their email address or yes, I want more information or something like that. Writing things down, it's much more powerful. If you ask them, hey, take it, if you're doing a video webinar and you say, look, grab a piece of paper and pencil and write this down, it's really important. By having them write that down, it does several things. First of all, it makes a statement that this is something important you want them to remember. The next thing is that most people, if they are seeing something and hearing something and they then write it down, okay, Vivian, I'll see you shortly. If they see it and hear it and write it down, chances are very, very good that it's going to stick with them. And if you can reiterate that, one way you can reiterate that in your sales messages is you'll hear me mention IMBIZSCHOOL.com several times, and you'll see it in print several times, and you'll see it on the websites. By seeing all these different things, and you might even write down the little, IMBIZSCHOOL.com address somewhere so that you can come back to it. By repetition, I'm having you write it down. I'm having you make notes of it. I'm having you download information that has it in there. All that becomes very powerful in your marketing efforts. And I'm trying to be right up front with you and tell you exactly what I'm doing here, so you can not only learn from what I'm doing, but so you understand. Because I'm not out to take advantage of anybody. Okay. Once someone has said yes, they're more likely to say yes in the future. There's an old saying in sales that you don't go out and sell for the yeses, you go out and sell for the nos. If you get, the average is 1 in 10 people will say yes. So you go out there looking for those 9 that are going to say no, because the odds are the next one's going to say yes. Once someone has agreed to do something that you've asked them to do, they're more likely to agree to do something else in the future. For example, one of the reasons opt-in email is so popular is because once someone gives you their email address and they get that email confirmation and they click on that in their email box to say, yeah, I ordered this, or yeah, I asked for this, or yes, I want to be on this list, they're much more likely to open your email when you send them one a couple days later than if they had not opted in the second time, not verified that. So once they've done it once or twice, they're more likely to do it again. It's building that habit again. Of course, that can go right out the window if you're sending a bunch of baloney and hype and trickery and that kind of stuff. So, and that's something else we'll go into when we talk about email marketing. And again, commitment, part of the commitment is nurturing that relationship with your existing customers. We all need new customers coming in constantly. We need the influx, we need to flow, we need to keep things fresh, but you can't forget about your existing customers. You have to be able to connect with them and build that relationship, because that, I always think of it like the mom and pop store on the corner. After you'd been to the store 2 or 3 times, they start to say, well, hey, hey, what's your name? Little girl, what's your name? When I was a kid, I used to have a little store I used to go to, and I love that little store because they would call me by name. And when I came in, she knew what kind of soda I drank. She knew what kind of candy I liked. She always made sure she had it in stock and that kind of thing. So, that's part of that relationship with your customer. All right, commitment motivators. We all are pretty much, I think, familiar with Facebook and LinkedIn, and SlideShare is another one. People, again, are creatures of habit. Once they, for example, one of the reasons, let's look at Facebook. When you first sign up with Facebook, they will give you messages. Hey, we looked at your inbox, your email, and you have these people are also on Facebook. You might want to connect with them. Or this person just signed up and he's a friend of yours. He's a friend of yours. Maybe you can suggest friends for him, or suggest a profile picture, and it has a little progress. So what this is asking you to do is help Mark. It's asking you for the commitment to help Mark. By committing to help Mark, you are now more tied to Facebook. You see, you are making a commitment to check into Facebook more often and see what Mark's up to. Same thing with hey Shooty. Same thing with LinkedIn and SlideShare and the other ones. As you go through and you put in your profile and you add your summary and you do all the things they're asking you to do, and some of them give you points and different things to encourage you to do that. As you do these things, you are building a commitment to keep checking back with that site. Twitter and Facebook are the two biggest ones we know of, and of course there's these other ones. But once you put that information in there and you start building friends, you sort of feel like, I need to go in there and let these people know what I'm up to. Or it's not just a matter of building a network to sell to. You begin to feel like you are committed to this situation. So that's what that's about. You can build those type of motivators into your website through forums, for example. If somebody's posting to your forum, they're going to be more likely to come back and see if somebody answered them and then answer that person. So that's a sense of commitment. Okay, you can build that. An example of that would be with the forums. Everybody does it. I know when I was a kid, my mom used to say, if everybody jumped off the bridge, would you jump off of it too? No, but everybody does it. We say it as kids, we do it as adults. People tend to trust the power of the crowd. People like to be associated with doing the things that are popular, to wear the popular fashions, and wear the popular fashions, be associated with the things that are popular. By being popular, they feel like they are going to be in higher demand. For example, there's a show that my sister watches, What Not to Wear, where they teach people how to dress for work or how to dress for certain situations, and it's promoting high fashion. And the idea is that people look at you differently if you dress like you're going to clean out the barn, but you're on your way to a big shot job in New York. People are going to look at you because you stand out from the crowd. Well, although we all want to stand out from the crowd and be individual, at the same time we all seek that collective acceptance. So that's why the things like on Amazon, where you go to look at a book, it says other people have also, that looked at this book have also looked at these books or whatever. That's why that works. People want to be a part of the crowd. The other thing is, when people make decisions that they see that other people are making that same decision, other people are buying the same product, it tends to give them a comfort zone. Well, I think this is a good product, but you know what? All these 500 people also think it's pretty good, so I must not be wrong. People don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be out in the cold. They don't want to be the first one to try something usually. There's a very small percentage of the population that's willing to be the first in line. So that's where this comes in, is if you can position yourself so that a lot of people are buzzing. That's what the buzz comes in. Talking about your product, then you're going to find that you're going to be doing better with it. Social proof. Again, this goes back to the same thing. What is a crowd doing? You'll see quotes and things like this all the time. 81% buy such and such. 6% bought this. 4% bought this. You're going to probably go with the one that 81% bought. Now, I tend to look at the other ones, but I'm different because I'm in marketing and I understand what they're doing. But another example, when I do a plugin for WordPress, I traditionally will look for a plugin that has 4.5 or 5 stars. The reason for that is I know more people are using it, and if there's a glitch with it, it's going to be reported, and I can see more quickly if there's something wrong. So that's why I do the 5-star thing, 4-star, 5-star thing in WordPress plugins. But depending on what you're looking at, that's what that's all about. People want to be part of the crowd. They want to know that the decision they're making is backed up by other people that have made the same decision. Likability, and this is the buzzword these days. Like me. That's wonderful, and it does work for a lot of things, especially if you have good content. If you are offering somebody something that has value to them, they're going to be much more likely to like you and suggest that their friends check you out or recommend you to their friends. But it needs to be genuine. Bribing people to like your page because you gave them a download, they're probably going to turn around and unlike it at some point. Or if they did like it, they're not going to probably promote you to their friends. They're not going to say, you know, when Jane likes your page and her girlfriend Sue comes in and says, hey, I see you liked, you know, page XYZ. What'd you think of it? Well, it's just I got a free book if I liked it. You know, that's not promoting your page. It's not going to do you a lot of good. The other thing is, you want to put like pages and promote your like pages, your like button, in groups that are similar interest. You want to remember, you want to keep it genuine. When, especially, you know, looking at Facebook, you want to, when you post to the Facebook, you want to be real. Don't go in there and constantly do sales messages. Facebook, like most of the social media, there's a reason it's called social media. That's because people are connecting socially. They want to talk to their friends. They want to find out what they're doing, you know, what they had for dinner last night, what movie they saw. They want to be complimented. When you compliment them, people can tell if you're just, oh, well, you look really nice today. You know, I mean, people can tell if that's genuine or not, even on the internet. So the thing is, you must keep it genuine. Your compliments need to be genuine. You need to get into groups that are of the same interest. For example, I also do genealogy and I also do cooking. I would not come into internet marketing and have you go like my cooking page, because even though you might enjoy cooking, that's not the niche that we're talking about. That's not the niche that we're working in, okay? Another thing is cooperative efforts. People like people who are willing to help. When you have a problem and you're searching for help and there's someone there to answer your question, that tends to help build a likability factor for that person, and you will tend to go back to that person in the future. Again, likability, things that are familiar to us. If you look at this page, just a sample page from one of the photo page sites, if you look at these pages, most of the people that the market that this site is marketing to are families, probably middle-aged women and men and women with younger children or grandchildren, maybe the older sect with grandchildren, and they want to do online picture sharing. So they have put up here pictures of small children, cute little children, you know, and you look at this and say, well, you know, that reminds me of the little blonde on the left-hand corner here reminds me of my granddaughter, or this reminds me of my grandson. I like this site. You know, it appeals to me. It makes me feel good. So that's that likability factor. You want to appeal to the emotion. Remember, 85% of all decisions are made based on emotion, not fact. Even though people will say, oh, I looked at the facts, it's still that emotional connection, that subconscious emotional connection that's going to get them. Okay, hook them and bring them in. Presumed trust. As when I pause, I'm checking the chat to see if y'all are answering me anything. Presumed trust. That's something that you get because maybe you heard the name of a country, Prudential Insurance. We've heard Prudential Insurance half of our lives, probably. I know since I was a little girl I've heard about Prudential Insurance. My dad actually worked for Prudential Insurance at one point. So you presume, because they've been around a long time, that they're valid, that they're trustworthy, that they're doing a good job. Because they're not going to do a good job, they're going to be out of business. People won't go to them, right? So, for example, my KegelOnline.com website that I've had since 2000, that I have a lot of presumed trust for the people that utilize that site, because I have been online for a very long time and I'm still up and I'm still operating that website. So that presumed trust comes in mostly from longevity, being in a position where people are still using your business or your services. Surface trust. Oh, doesn't it look pretty? In this particular example, it's a nicely laid out website for Halloween, and it would probably appeal to somebody looking for something for Halloween. It's got their phone number up there. You know, when they give hard contact information, that's trustworthy. They're not hiding anything. They're telling you how to get hold of them. It's laid out nicely. It looks like maybe they had a professional work on it. But what really gets you a feeling of surface trust at the outside, the top level layer of trust, is the authorized.net and the invalid certificate checker. These things that they put on here give you a sense of legitimacy. And that's one of the things that you can use on your website if you can get approved through authorized.net. If you have a ClickBank product, if you're an affiliate marketer, ClickBank is well known on the internet, and people trust ClickBank. They trust PayPal. So if you're using those services rather than a lesser known service, you're likely to get a few extra sales because you're using the newer service or the more popular services. Honey, dog, please get down. Sorry guys, my puppy wants me to hold him. Anyway, reputed trust, in other words, trust through reputation, again, is when other people talk about you, say, hey, you know, they do a really good job, they've been around for a while, then it's word of mouth. It's basically word of mouth advertising. When other people or other organizations or other entities talk about you as being trustworthy, that's reputed trust, or trust built on reputation. Earned trust. Chris Farrell, many of you may or may not know who he is. He's been voted #1 internet marketing service online for the last couple of years in a row. Google, you know, they've earned our trust by delivering a good search. When we look for something, we go to Google. I mean, they built a reputation on giving you what you asked for. Same thing with Chris Farrell. He's built a reputation on delivering what he promised. EZine Articles is one of the, it's probably the top, it's one of the top 2, if not the #1 eZine article directory to deliver articles for article marketing, especially on the internet right now. And they've earned that by being very particular about what articles they publish, what you're allowed to put in the articles, how you format the articles. They have certain standards. By adhering to those standards and forcing you as a writer to adhere to those standards before they will agree to publish you, they've earned a reputation of being trustworthy, that the articles they deliver are going to be worthwhile articles, you know, for you to spend your time on. Again, Wikipedia, the same thing. They've earned the trust over years of delivering a high quality service. Anchoring. Anchoring is sort of tricky to understand. In this example, it's showing you, and you've seen that, you might have seen this a lot, especially like on hosting services or website providers where they're going to give you different plans that you can look into. When you're anchoring, you want to start not with your lowest price, but with the second level. And that's the one that you want to push. You want to try to design that level to appeal to the most users, to be the most economical for what you're giving. You don't want to push the basic. You want to try to get people to look at what your eye's going to go to this pop-out, because this is the 30-day trial is offered on the $49 a month plan. So it's a little bit better than the basic plan, and most people will say, you know, it's not that much more, but look how much more I get. It's just a way to anchor your base. It's a starting point, basically. It's just a starting point to get them in, and from there you can move them up or down as you need to. So basically it's a point at which you are able to get more people to agree to your offer. Aversion to loss, and this goes back to the liking something or fearing something or needing something, or needing and wanting something versus being afraid of losing it. People don't want to lose money. So if you could say, hey, wait, you're going to spend an extra $6.53, if you check out now, save $6.53, go back and do something else. A lot of times this really does work very well, and people will go back just to save that few pennies. My husband was making a joke the other day. He said, boy, all the money I'm saving on the shopping, I should be rich. Well, yeah, but technically I probably would not have been out shopping if they hadn't had the sale. So there's ways to put this in, to word your advertising so that people tend to be more afraid of losing something than they are interested in going to find something they want. Believe it or not, it sounds ridiculous, but the fear factor is much, much stronger. The fear of loss is much, much stronger than the hope of something pleasant. So that's one of the ways that you sort of look at the negativity in a way that addresses a fear of losing out on something. Okay? Procrastination. I'm going to come back. I'll bookmark this and come back later. There's a lot. My husband's one of those. He has the longest bookmark list of anybody I've ever seen in my life. People are short on time. There's a lot of factors that interfere with things that you want people to do online. So one of the things you can do is to cut down on that procrastination by making things quick, easy, and to the point. Opt-in boxes. The quicker and easier you can make the opt-in box, the better. So that's basically what this is demonstrating. I'm not promoting any of these websites I'm showing you. I just grabbed some screenshots, but and I'm not affiliated with any of them, but it's just to give you an idea. So one of the reasons the opt-in box works so well is it gets people to act right then. Once they leave the page, there's a real good chance, like a 93% chance, they'll never return. So you want to grab them in that first couple of seconds, make it easy for them, so that they don't procrastinate, they don't bookmark it and then forget the bookmark is there. Okay? Endowment of value. And I've used the social networking again here. When I'm talking about an endowment of value, if you've got two people that are marketing and one person has a Facebook fan page and they have 100 people on that fan page that like them, you perceive that person or that offer or that business as having a little bit more credibility, a little bit more value. People see value in them. Again, it goes back to the crowd mentality. You know, we like what other people like. That's endowment of value. You are obtaining a sense of value in the eye of your potential customer because you are affiliated with some other service that they already use that they value. Okay, did I do that good enough? Did y'all catch what I meant there? When you associate with LinkedIn or Facebook or SlideShare or So Cool or some of these services that a lot of people use that they find value because they get something out of it, when they see that you're also on that service, then some of that value that they perceive for the service they're already using, for example, Facebook, they now look at you as having a product that's a little bit more valuable because you're doing the same kind of thing they're doing. Stereotypes. This is Etsy. I have friends that do handmade articles, so I just grabbed this one. When you think handmade, you think certain things. And this really is a good example. That's why I grabbed it. When you say a homemade gift, you think about something maybe that's knitted or crocheted or that type of thing. You maybe something hand painted or whatever. You have stereotypes that you think of. We pretty much, I mean, I don't want to go to the, people stereotype thing, but we all have them. We all, when we hear a certain name, we say, oh, that person must be this race or that ethnicity or something like that. Those are stereotypes. We want to try to avoid those in as far as we deal with people. But on the internet, if you're doing internet marketing, that tells people a certain thing, that you're doing a certain thing. Those stereotypes then become important when you work in a certain niche. When I say I do genealogy, well, people say, okay, genealogy, that's Ancestry.com. Everybody sees Ancestry.com commercials. They know that's genealogy. So that stereotype, oh, you do what Ancestry does. Well, yeah, I should be doing something similar to what they do. So by meeting those stereotypes, you immediately start to, again, build trust with your customer because they expect to see a certain thing, and they go to your site and that's what they see, and that helps to build trust. So you want to follow, in the case of online marketing, you want to at least be aware of the stereotypes that are out there for your niche. Motivators, again, go back to the social networking, and you see this all the time. Hey, click here, and you're almost done, and just one more little thing, and you'll be able to do this. Or, if you LinkedIn, the big thing with LinkedIn is your profile. Get that profile done. Everybody wants you to get your profile. Get your resume in there. Drives me crazy sometimes, and I hate seeing that little progress bar with just a little part left over. AWeber does this when you're working on an opt-in form and you're mailing your broadcast mailing. You'll see a little progress bar that says you still have to do some stuff. Those are motivators to get you to stay on the site and continue to do whatever it is you need to do so you can finish up that little progress bar. And it doesn't have to be a progress bar like this. You can have step 1, step 2, step 3, that type of thing. But those are motivators. Get people to stay on the site and continue with the action they have started so that they end up where you want them to end up. This is very, very effective in forums. If you're doing that kind of forum marketing, or if you are doing social networking, you want people to come on your fan page, so you want them to click here and do this, and you want them to click here and do that, and hey, while you're here, why don't you do this, and if you do one more thing, you'll get that, so you can build that into your fan pages and your marketing that way. Simplicity, again, you want to keep it simple, stupid. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. The easier it is for people to understand, the easier it is for people to complete, the more likely they are to complete it. And I know I'm a bad one for not keeping it as simple as I could, but I have so much information to share, sometimes it's very difficult, and that's one of the things I need to work on, is making some things more simple. but sometimes simple is better. So in your marketing, especially if your goal is to build an email list, you want something similar to this. You just want, bam, this is it. You're going to get this, or you're going to get this service, or this one to sign up and start posting so they can get a blog right away, or maybe you're giving away an ebook or a newsletter or something. You want to keep it simple and just 1 or 2 steps and they're done, and then they get a return, and that return you draw them back in. Oh, that didn't come out well. I don't know if that looks as bad to you as it does to me, but I'll see if I can get you through this. The first, these are triggers, things that cause people to take action. You want to facilitate. You want to get people to do something, so you want to try to make it easy. Keep it simple, stupid, KISS. The next thing you want to do is you build, and I'm talking about now building your sales message. First thing you want to do is try to make it as easy as possible. You don't want them to have to fill out 400 things before they can get your offer. You just make it as simple as possible. Spark is that you're building up. It's like you're sparking a fire. You're building up. You're starting. You get a little spark going, and then you put your kindling on, and you blow on it a little bit, and you get a little bit of a flame going, and you just build and build and build until you get that fire going. Some of the key words that you can use, not keywords in as much as marketing, but signal words. Some of the signal words you will see are get ready, it's almost time, wait. Even though that's a negative, it's a positive, and I'll go through that a little bit more in a copywriting video. But not yet, in a minute, here it comes, just click here, no there, not yet, before you click, read this first, only one click, and then you get to the signal, the call to action. Now is the time, click here. Click here to get started. Just fill in your name and click here and you'll get your information, that type of thing. So that's how you would structure that. And it's a standard formula. It's used everywhere. And this is, if you happen to have a real world business, these methods and these persuasive tactics work very well in the real world, because when you are face to face and you are able to look at people and interact with people and hear their tone of voice and see their body language, you can read how you're being perceived. It's much easier actually in the real world than it is online. Again, these are some examples of triggers. This is a form builder from the Wufoo that I showed you earlier. It says, you're almost done, but you didn't add fields. Stop. There's no field. Stop. You should add a field. You need to do this. Easy way to make decisions. Let's get started. It has a little blurb to read. Let's get started. Just easy. It's got a headline. Let's get started. And your eye will go. Your eye will naturally read the headline, and it'll look at the button. And you might, if you're already on a page with other information, you're probably going to say easy way to make decisions to get started. You're going to click. So make it as simple as possible. Those triggers get people to do something you want them to do. So some practical tips are to start with the big ask and move to the small one, and that's, again, when you have a higher price item and the person refuses or decides not to purchase or whatever, you go to the secondary sale item, or lower priced item or something similar, or a discount or coupon or whatever. You want to frame your decisions in terms of losses, not gains. Don't miss out on such and such and such, rather than, oh, you'll be really making some good money if you buy this. Although making good money because you bought this is enticing, it's not nearly as powerful as, don't be living on the street next week because you didn't pay your rent. That fear builds, and that is much more powerful. You want to, when you're first starting to build your reputation, when you're first starting online, one of the things you want to do is point out some of your weaknesses or drawbacks. That helps, and then give your strongest argument, your strongest good point. Now, you don't want to overdo this. You don't want to focus on weak points, especially if you're just starting out and you're new to a certain niche or a certain market. You don't want to sit here and list 400 things that you don't know and then the one thing that you do. That's not the purpose. The idea is to say, hey, I don't know everything, but I do know this. And you want to focus on what you do know, but you get that little in there, I'm not going to tell you I know it all, but I do know a lot about this, and I can help you with this part, okay? One yes, and people will want to deepen the relationship. Once someone has agreed to do something for you or agreed to take your offer, then now they have a commitment to you. I talked about commitment earlier. They've said yes. Now they've invested themselves in you or your offer. Once someone invests in something, whether it's an offer, whether it's monetary, whether it's emotional, they tend to spend a little bit more time trying to work on that to build that relationship. So if you can get them to fill in your opt-in box, if you can get them to accept your free ebook, if you can get them to come attend your webinar, that type of thing, then you'll be able to start building that relationship. And as you get to know your customer and they get to know you, that's how you build that relationship and have more returning customers. And that's also how you get word of mouth. Once your customer sees that you're going to do what you say you do, they're more likely to tell their friends, say, hey, you know, I found this person that has this ebook and it's really great and it really helped me a lot. You ought to get it. You can't buy that kind of advertising. I don't care how much money you have. That kind of advertising you can't buy. In the same light, one person on Facebook talking about how horrible you are and how you lied and they caught you in this lie can be more damaging than 400 people telling other people how good you are. So keep that in mind. You want to keep it above board and try to work on the positive. Make sure you're in high demand, and that's one of the most difficult things when you're starting out, is to put yourself in a position of high demand. One of the things you can do, again, is scarcity, exclusivity. Produce a product or find a product that is not on every page of Google. You know, if you go on Google and you search for certain things, you'll see like 100 websites pop up all selling the same thing. You don't want that. You want to, you know, I use the big blue ocean concept. If you're in the ocean and you're swimming in a school of mackerel, and there's all these mackerel all bunched together and they swim real tight together in a little spool, and you know, in a school, and if the lead one's turn, the other one's falling turn, they're all right there together, none of them ever break out. But if you could happen to be that mackerel that happens to break out of that school and swims around off to the side a little bit, you're going to be the one that gets noticed. Now, in the ocean and as a mackerel, that might not be a good thing because there's a lot of sharks out there, and that actually probably applies as well to internet marketing. But you can position yourself in a way that you're doing something different, and people start to see that, and once people start to see that, the demand will grow. And if you can position yourself in a way that what you have to offer is somewhat limited, again, you're using that scarcity, that also helps to create demand. It's just like the Apple iPad, the iPad things that just recently came out. The demand on those is very high because they're scarce. You know, you have to wait for them to come in the store. You have to order them. You go to the store and they don't have it anymore. You have to order them. That scarcity puts them in more demand. And then again, you want to be try to be genuine and open, and that says with your clients or with your customers, something like that. But you want to be genuine and open. Be yourself. You know, you don't want to put on airs. It's very hard to maintain a false persona. So certain things I want you to think about, and we take just a second, take a breath, and I'll stop here for just a second. We're running a little bit long because I waited in case anybody needs to make a run for the bathroom or anything like that. I'll take 5. But I want you to think about these comparisons here. When you get back, I want to ask you which ones, I want you to think about them, and which one do you think is more powerful, pleasure or pain, hope or fear, acceptance or rejection. I want to get your answers. Anyway, okay, I want to go ahead. I think everybody's here. Tell you what, let's do it this way. You see the little button at the top where you say, I'm fine, I have a question, right above your, right above where it says attendance. It says, I'm fine, I have a question, yes, I agree, or no, I disagree. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you on this, which do you think is more powerful? Those that think pleasure is more powerful than pain, if you would put yes. If you think it's not, you can type in no. Or not type anything. And I'm not seeing much coming across. Actually, pain is much more powerful than pleasure. Believe it or not, it just seems weird, but if you think about it this way, if you have a toothache, you will do almost anything to make that pain go away. And then, you know, I'm trying to shorten this whole webinar thing up a little bit for you. I'm going to go ahead and go through this. In the same way, fear tends to be much more powerful emotion than hope. Although hope is a powerful emotion, pleasure is a powerful emotion or a powerful feeling. Pain and fear tend to override hope or pleasure much more strongly. So if you can I hate to say play on people's fear, because that's what you're doing. You don't want to try to scare people to death or anything like that, but if you can play on certain fears, has the economy got you down? Are you afraid of losing your job? I have an answer for you. Or, if you're in the health field, and do you suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome? That's pain. I have a solution that will help you. Rather than, if you want something that will help to relieve your chronic fatigue syndrome, I might have something that'll work. It's a very subtle difference, but if you can learn to put your copy in terms of addressing the pain or the fear of your customer and then offering a solution to that, you're going to get a higher response rate, because those two factors are stronger emotions, and people, again, 85% of all decisions are made based on subconscious emotion and perception. So if you can address that and use that in your copy, that's going to give you a little bit higher response. As for acceptance and rejection, believe it or not, acceptance is much more powerful than rejection. Although we do fear rejection, we will work harder to be accepted than we do to keep from being rejected. To avoid rejection, we may just avoid a situation. If you don't want to be rejected on the playground when people are picking teams, maybe that day you have a tummy ache after lunch and you don't go out to play. You just avoid it. Whereas in acceptance, your personality is going to change a little bit. You're going to do different things to get people to accept you. So acceptance is a much more powerful emotion or feeling or much more desirable thing than worrying about rejection. So when you're working on your copy, if you can address things like pain, fear, and acceptance, being part of that group, being part of the crowd, rather than focusing on the rejection, you're going to get a better return. Okay? Some of the biggest barriers that you're going to face in marketing. Time, money, effort, not routine, not normal in social circles. And, these are pretty much self-explanatory. People have busy lives. They don't have time to sit and read long sales messages. And I really one of my pet peeves is these 2-hour videos or 45-minute video on a sales page, and there's no button for you to stop it or pause it. What if the phone rings in the middle of the thing? You got to turn it off or walk away from it or close the window. Well, if you close the window, you're probably not coming back. And I know that I've had some people fuss at me about my videos because they don't auto start, and I have buttons on there where you can stop them and start them and replay them and whatever. But I also look at it from the consumer's point of view. I don't always have time to sit through a video. Sometimes I have to stop that video and get up and walk the dog or fix dinner or whatever happens to be going on. Answer the phone, answer somebody that's on the website asking a question, and I have to pause that video. And if there's no way to do that, then chances are pretty good I'm not going to watch that whole video. So that's one thing you might want to consider. Consider the time that your customers are investing in your page or your offer or learning about your stuff, because that is valuable to them. That's money in their pocket. Time is money. Then we hit the money issue. Let's face it, folks, economy's tough. People don't have as much disposable income as they used to. Disposable income simply means the money that you have left over after all your bills are paid. The money that you use for going out, the money that you use to have dinner, the money you use to go to the movie, that's disposable income. Money that is not designated for rent and utilities and bills and 401ks and retirement incomes and birthday presents and all those things. It's the money that's over and above your obligations, okay? So the disposable income is not nearly as high as it was even 2 years ago. So that's one of the things you have to consider. You might want to consider revising the pricing on some of your items if you have high-priced items, or perhaps offering a payment plan or a monthly subscription plan instead of an upfront X number of dollars and you got lifetime. The effort involved. People just don't, for example, if you've worked all day long, you go to work, you get up, you go to work, maybe you drive an hour to get to work, you work all day long, you drive an hour to get home. if maybe you're the person in the home that cooks the meal, and maybe you're a single mom and you have to take care of kids, and you finally get them all to bed and it's 9 o'clock at night, and you sit down to relax and check your email, and there's an email, and you open it up and you click on a link, and they want you to read this whole long thing, and then at the bottom they want you to fill in this, and then they want you to, you're too tired, you don't want to put in the effort. So keep that in mind, especially in emails. Think about the time of day that you're sending them out. They get to it. That's how a routine can essentially affect, one of the ways routine can affect your marketing. So make sure that if you do have a limited offer, you might want to send several emails. You might want to find other ways, maybe Facebook or Twitter or something, to let people know that, hey, I have a limited offer in there, go check your email, and then it's not normal in social circles. And again, that goes to, if any of you have been in a situation where, let's just use internet marketing. If you're doing internet marketing and you're at a party and somebody said, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, I do internet marketing. Oh, I see. It used to be, I do Amway. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Amway, but Amway used to have a very bad reputation, because people that got into Amway, they had to buy the products and they stored them in the garage and they had to go sell them before they could get their money. So it got a bad reputation. It was not normal in most social circles to be an Amway distributor. And that has changed over the years, and Amway worked very hard to change the perception. But if something that's not normal in the circle that you're running around in, or the circle that you're involved in, or the group of friends that you're involved with, then you're less likely to want to do it. The art of persuasion. I have a little video. Let's hope this works. It wouldn't embed, so let's do this for you.
Well, creating your whole persona is one of the most important things you can do. So you start out with a decision in mind of who you want to be. You have to ask your question of yourself is, who do I want my public to know me for, or I want other people to know me for? What do I want to be seen as? And then you build your persona around that. And building a persona covers everything from the way you look, the way you talk, the clothing you wear, how you position every single thing that you do. So if you take a look, for example, at anything that I do around persuasion, I have a very specific way of presenting myself. I have a very specific way of talking, and I reinforce that every single time. Nothing ever changes, because people they're looking for predictability so that they always know. So if you take the time to create a look, that's the first part, and the second thing is to create an ideal that you express on an ongoing basis, that becomes your tagline, or it becomes your rote explanation of who you are every single time, so that people are never confused. See, with somebody who's highly effective as a persuader, there's never any confusion about who they are or what they do. And so by doing that, you become much more effective.
I mean, don't kids do this in high school? They literally just enter into these roles very unconsciously, but then as we get older, we forget that we can meld into these roles, and we just kind of stick to that one role that we developed when we were younger, and we don't change.
Right, and see, what's really interesting about that is they only have 4 or 5 or 6 habits. They don't have thousands of habits that make up these things. They do several things to clearly identify themselves. When I was an undercover narcotics officer, for example, I developed a very specific kind of look that fit in with the group that I needed to fit in with. They could identify me unconsciously based on my look, on my gait, on my speech, everything. They didn't have to think about whether or not. I did all the hard work for them. See, I set myself up in a way that they could instantly understand who I am. And you're exactly right. In high school, people do that all the time. They have to have identity. See, people always say think outside the box, but they want to put themselves in a box. They want to be carefully categorized so that they can see other people like them. Because it's true to the sense that birds of a feather do flock together. And so if you are the most dominant person in that flock, if you are the person that everybody else looks to, and you set the example for how they should be, then people begin to emulate you and your persona, which is wildly persuasive.
And so developing a persona is obviously the number one trait, how you look, how you act. What would be another trait that would be really important?
Another trait that's very important is to become a very powerful communicator in terms of telling emotional stories that people can connect with. Because if you're going to lead people and if you're going to influence them effectively, you need to tell very powerful stories that they can understand and that they can identify with. So you pick 1 or 2 components that you can tell over and over again that people instantly identify with. You pull them in by that way. That's your bait or your hook, if you will. And it's the thing that reels them in and pulls them in close. And then you support them using the other techniques that we've talked about. You give them a way of being, of identifying with you. You share information with them. You begin to slowly and carefully craft what it is that you want them to do by supporting their inherent beliefs.
Let's talk about the story idea, because we all have ideas of what has happened to us, and our story is generally going to be different than people who are right next to us experiencing the same, or supposedly the same thing that we experienced. How do we use our history as a way to create an interesting story rather than the kind of boring or unhappy stories that a lot of us have? Right. So it's compelling and people actually want to hear about it.
Well, you link things. You take those pieces. See, for one thing, most people will never tell their stories. They keep their stories to themselves because they think they're uninteresting. I didn't tell my story of growing up in a cult for years because I didn't think people would find it was interesting. But once I understood the power of that story, then it was very easy to link it to other things. So when you start telling your stories, you link them for a purpose. See, every story should have a moral if you're using it. The moral doesn't have to be a real moral like we used to see in Aesop's fables, but it needs to be a moral that people understand. So the story has an outcome. I'm telling it for this purpose so that you will understand that I'm just like you and that you're going to have a similar kind of emotional reaction that I had. So when I talk about those kinds of things and I tell emotional stories, people get it. And the interesting thing about that is when those stories are emotionally told and they're compelling, people have to retell them. They can't forget about them. They remember them. So even if two people have exactly the same experience at the same time, and let's just say it's a very negative experience, one will frame the story as being something that led them to learn, or they had a bigger aha or a revelation. The other person will just simply say that story is the reason that my life sucks now.
Well, isn't that the nature of a story? You experience something, and then you say it to somebody, and in the very language of you saying it, they're getting a similar experience, so they then retell what they've experienced as a result of the story that you said.
If you tell the story very well, they definitely become a part of the story. See, the difference between a powerful storyteller and somebody who's a factual reporter is that the storyteller, people forget that they're listening to a story. They become a part of it. When you're just giving a litany of ideas, that if I explain something that happened and say that happened like this, there were these 4 or 5 things that happened, the sky was blue, the sun was shining. I mean, you can just check that off. But if I say, have you ever been in the middle of a deep, dark day where it felt like there was no wind, there was no heat, there was no cool, and a storm was brewing, and you could tell it was almost electric in the air, and you could see as I do that, it forces you to go into a place where you've experienced that before. I force you to do a transderivational search where you start looking for similarities in my story. When have I had that experience? What was it like? And oftentimes the example that I like to use is why you may love a book and hate a movie, because the creation of the movie in your head as you read the book is never replicated perfectly on the screen. It's a difference between just talking at someone and engaging someone, pulling them in, getting them to be a part of the story. See, when you know people have become a part of the story, when you see them nodding in congruence, when they're asking questions, and when they start sharing their own stories. See, really the best way to elicit someone else's stories is through your own. And you get them to elicit a shared experience, a shared kind of feeling, and as you do that, you can take them deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you can start making connections. You start making these links between what you're talking about to where you want them to move.
I find this absolutely fascinating because we really instinctively are drawn to the most brilliant storytellers in movies and on television and even in musical lyrics, but we don't realize that we all have this power within ourselves. What is a good way to start getting good at telling stories about our lives or about other people's lives we can use as examples, but still to get good at that skill?
The first thing to do is listen to good storytellers and to read good stories, and then start overlaying your own story using those techniques. But the best way of all is to start telling your stories. See, most people will, if instead of telling you a story, they'll say, oh yeah, the same thing happened to me. When I was 5, I fell off my bike and got bit by a German Shepherd. Right? And then that's the end of it. Oh yeah, I had a shared experience with you. Well, that's meaningless. But the other thing is you say, oh my God, I know exactly how you feel, because when I was 5, I was chased down by a German Shepherd, knocked off my bike, and ripped my calf open. And as a result of that, I was terrified by German Shepherds, absolutely mortified by dogs for most of my adult life and then you link it back to something else where you want them to move.
So you have to have a real deep experience in your own imagination of what's going on. It's almost like you're watching it happen, and you're trying to get the people that you're speaking with for them to see it happening at the exact same time.
Yeah, ultimately you're reliving the experience. You're putting yourself back in the emotional state of when it occurred, and you're reporting that as it occurs to you. You're reporting it with the emotion, with the feeling, with all of the thoughts that you had, and everything else. And that's what pulls people in.
Socrates says that the unexamined life is not worth living, but would you agree that it's the unimagined life that makes life really not worth living, because we don't engage our imaginations enough in our relationships with other people?
Well, absolutely, because, see, a life unimagined is simply not using your fullest capacity of what you can do. And here's what's interesting about what you just said. It's simply this, that when you teach people how to tell these powerful stories and you get them to start sharing them, that's when they're able to imagine what could be, when they see that people really react to them in a different way. Because ultimately we all want to be interesting human beings, and we are. But most of us sometimes just forget how to communicate that interest. See, we had no problem as a child creating these vivid kinds of dream worlds. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. She has the best imagination in the world. She tells me the craziest stories about things that she's done all day that never happened. She's not lying. She's only creating a reality that's a possibility for her. And I find myself emotionally engaged in that. I find myself, building her story with her, because I remember what it was like to be a child. And I remember what it was like to create these things. I was an only child for a long time too. And so I have this whole sense of this is what this is like. We now have a shared experience. See, this is unconscious rapport building, because now we have deep rapport. We have a shared experience, and we're connecting in a way that only the two of us can connect, even if 50 people are connecting with me at once. It's a one-on-one relationship.
Dave, this has been absolutely fascinating. I look forward to doing additional interviews in the near future.
Hi there, this is Barbara from IMBIZSCHOOL.com, and I just wanted to invite you to join our member forum. Our member forum is designed for everyone. You don't have to be a member. I have opened it up so that you can register and use the forum at your convenience. So it's very simple. Just go onto the page. It's IMBIZSCHOOL.com/forum, and you go down to where it says welcome guests. Please log in or register. If you're not a member, you would register here. If you're a member, you would go ahead and log in. And then you can utilize the forum to ask questions, share your expertise with each other, and just start to form a community of like-minded people that are looking to do things differently on the internet, based on high ethical grounds, doing things the right way. If you decide that you want to look into IMBIZSCHOOL, but you don't, you're not ready to join the membership, I do have a $4.97 5-day trial where you can come in and check out the site, and you can go in there and check that out, and just look around, see if it suits you. If it doesn't suit you, then at the end of 5 days, don't worry about it. You're done. Just let me know. Send me an email. I want to cancel. Or if you use the PayPal button on this particular page, on the front page of the site, that is going to be a single purchase 5-day trial, and at the end of that there's no rebilling. You'll just be locked out. If you use the button at the bottom of the front page, that will take you through ClickBank, and you'll automatically be rebilled after the 5th day. On this front page, IMBIZSCHOOL.com, you'll get the access to the live help. If I'm not available, you can click on that, and a window will open up to allow you to message me. So if the lady's face is in black and white, that means I'm offline and I'm helping someone else or whatever. And you can send me a quick message. It's open, send, whatever. And there's also information about the upcoming webinars there that you will be able to attend for free. So I hope you'll check that out and take a look at IMBIZSCHOOL.com. This is at the inside. You'll see there's quite a few courses in here already, and I'm adding more pretty much on a daily or weekly basis. I spend several days. The buy now button that I'm pointing out here is the one that goes to PayPal, and that's a flat $4.97, and after 5 days you're done. There's no rebilling. So if you choose that option, you're welcome to come in and look around and make sure this is for you before you sign up. So thank you so much for your time today, and I hope that I've helped you. Go ahead in and look around. You'll find a lot of information here, and that's my commercial for tonight. So thank you for attending the webinar, and I hope that I see you again soon. Remember, you can always hit me up with the button on the website to get some more information. You can email me at barbara@kegelonline.com or IMBIZSCHOOL@gmail.com. The links are on the front page. So thank you so much. Have a good